Hăīre, φίλε, and welcome. Today we're going to be taking a look at John chapter 4, verses 46 and 47. But first, last time in John chapter 4. Probably enough time. Here is our text, and here's the rubric, everything we look for as we go through. Let's go ahead and get started. Eilthen un pollen eis tein kana tes Galileas, hopu epoiesen to hudor oinon. Kai ein tis basilikos hu ho huios esthenae, that is, en Capharnaum, hutos akusas hoti Jesus heke ektes Judaias eis tein Galilean apelthen pros auton kai erota hina katabe kai iasetai autu ton huion emelen gar apothneskein. And there we have it. Our very first word is a verb, which is always nice to run into. We've got epsilon nu there for the third person, singular ending. This is from erkomai, so we have that eta, and the change of the stem here tells us that it's going to be aorist tense, and is active, and it is indicative. It means he came. Un is just connecting this event with a preceding series of events. Therefore, he came, pollen, a adverb, yes. Again, ace prepositional phrase, taking the accusative, which we see with tain. Kana does not decline, so can't really parse it, but plus accusative. And we have singular, feminine because of the article. Tes is the wrong form, so kana ends our prepositional phrase. However, Galileas with that as and the eta sigma in the article we know is going to be a genitive, singular, feminine, and yes, I think Galilee has a few forms. We've got the genitive there. We'll have another form later on. But that ends this thought, so we can go ahead and write it out. Our subject is going to be Jesus, since it's been him who's been doing the action here. He's coming now out of Samaria. And we've already talked in the previous page a little bit about how he's traveling. Comma. Hopu, this word means where. It's another adverb. Epoiesen, we've seen this form enough times before, and you should recognize the constituent parts to be able to parse that yourself, so I'm going to leave it alone. To hudor oinon, we already have Jesus as our subject. To hudor then must be an accusative, singular, neuter, and then oinon is going to be the predicate accusative. Keep forgetting. No necessary C's. This is Greek, but too much habit. So, Jesus, where? Jesus made. This is, of course, a reference back to Jesus' first miracle. He's looped up to the north into Samaria, and now he's come back down south, somewhere around the Sea of Galilee, on his way towards Jerusalem. And I think, except for that northward jaunt, from this point on, for Jesus, it's essentially down to Jerusalem and just in the Jerusalem area. But could be forgetting something. Moving on. Kai, and. Really, we're entering a new subject here, so the previous page probably won't need to be necessary at the beginning of the next video. Ein, don't need to parse that. We've seen it enough times. Tis, note that we don't have an accent over there, which then means we have not the interrogative particle, pronoun, but instead we have just the relative pronoun. And since we have a word I can't say, basilikos, with the omicron sigma for a nominative singular masculine, matching our nominative singular masculine, it's going to be, rather than some, we would say a certain. Should probably say what basilikos means. Note that it has basil, as in basileus, or word for king, but with ikos, we have a different concept behind this, so it's not the ruler of a country, but it refers to a member of the nobility, and this is adjective. So we could have noble, we could have somebody of the royal family, we could have this also used for a courtier, So not actually somebody of the royal family, but of the court who serves the king, serves the government in some way. I'm going to go with noble's not quite right, because at this time the Jews don't really have a noble line, Jesus being the heir apparent of the throne, but no throne to put him on, so no royalty, except it as a historical curiosity, if you will. So yeah, royal doesn't work. Noble, at least in the sense of royal, doesn't work. Courtier, I suppose it's possible that this guy serves in the government somewhere, possibly in local Roman officials' office, in quote marks. But I think that the best option really here is noble as in a wealthy man, a man high in society, but definitely not the understanding of royalty. Who, with that aspiration right there, means that we've got a form of hos, he, ho, our relative pronoun. This one's going to be with omicron upsilon, a genitive singular masculine, referring back to our basilikos. Ho huios, omicron sigma, we know that's our subject. U is going to be owning these two. Whose son, ace thene, we've got epsilon iota right there for our personal ending, and we've got eta augmenting on the front, so that we know it's not a present tense or a future tense. The stem has not changed from ostheneo, I believe, epsilon contract. So the alpha here has contracted with our augmenting vowel epsilon. The omega hasn't really contracted with the epsilon. Instead, we've got the third person ending, which I think is just epsilon contracting with our other epsilon here, creating our diphthong. And this just tells us present tense, stem, augment, therefore past tense, therefore imperfect. Third, singular, imperfect. Active, indicative. And this is just telling us that it's something that happened in the past and is progressing currently. We could say was weak or was sickly. I think weak is, if you'll pardon, weak for what the basilikos is trying to say here, so it was sickly. If he was just weak, let him rest, he'll be fine. In Capharnaum, we have no declining of Capharnaum, so we just have to take n according to its normal form. N plus the brain failure. I'm typing in my brain access file epsilon new, and I'm getting return of nothing. It's been a long week, apparently. I want to say in plus the dative. Well, there's going to be a note making fun of me again, but let's move on. Indeclinable, though we know that it is feminine in how it functions with articles. Verse 47, hutos, omicron sigma there for nominative singular. This is going to be, again, referring to the king. Akousos, we've got alpha sigma there as our ending. We've got this sigma onto the what would have otherwise been the present stem, but no augmenting vowel with that alpha. So then we know that this has to be in the past tense, or could be in the future tense. Future doesn't use alpha sigma as an ending. Past tense would require, in the indicative mood, a augmenting vowel, and it would be eta there. So then this tells us it must be a participle. And then with a participle, we know alpha sigma is a nominative, singular, masculine. Functioning as normal, just introducing a statement. Iesus, omicron upsilon sigma with he k, epsilon iota. We know that Jesus is going to be our subject. He k, we have an eta here. So we could have contraction. Epsilon iota is either a present ending or it is a contracted past ending. But what's the verb? Well, the verb as actually echo. Which I have to tell you. I'm not obligated to tell you, I suppose, but in my undergrad days, going through Homer, this verb was extremely frustrating because if you would go to use Perseus and you would click the verb to get the parsing of it, Perseus would always tell you the wrong word. And so I was always very confused. And then you have to go back to the lexicon and look it up like you're supposed to, like a good student would. And then you go, oh, well, I'm dumb. Anyway, well, usually the complaint would actually be that Perseus is dumb. But same difference. So this is actually a third, singular, present, active, and indicative. And it means to be present, to come. And, present with has, I suppose you could translate it so it sounds a little bit better in English, but I'm going to leave it as is. Ek prepositional phrase plus the genitive, tes eudaios, end of prepositional phrase, because you've got another one right here with ace, singular and feminine. Ace is going to take the accusative as per normal with Galilean, new right there confirming it, singular and feminine, showing motion into which? The region of Galilee. Up eilthen, epsilon nu. This is going to be the same form as up here, but just with the prefix op, telling us that he left from somewhere to go somewhere else. Don't need to parse it. And this would be the basilikos, again, not Jesus. Pros, prepositional phrase with auton as its object. Erota is the wrong form, so kai cannot be connecting two objects of pros, but plus accusative, singular, masculine, and this time it's going to be in reference to Jesus. Kai, and erota from erotao. We have our eta on the front, so then that means we've got a augmenting vowel contracting at the beginning to give us the past tense, and then alpha here is going to be our, if I'm remembering correctly, third person singular. But note that we've got the present stem. It's erotao, eroteso. I don't think I'm remembering the future correctly. But suffice it to say, we've got another imperfect tense here with the alpha ending rather than the epsilon ending. That would be a weak versus strong if it were an aorist. I forget what it is called for the imperfect. But imperfect. Yes, active. Indicative. And so we can see he was asking him, like repeatedly asking him, or he began to ask him. Hina, and this is going to be definitely a purpose clause, and hence erota. Kata be, eta, with the sub iota right there, tells us immediately that this is going to be a subjunctive, especially with hina purpose clause. This is from bino. Bino would be the bine, that is, would be the present stem, and with the contraction, or really the loss of everything in the stem for bino, we know that this must be an aorist. So, third singular aorist. This one is active also, but subjunctive. Iasetai, tau, alpha, iota for a third person singular. We don't have any augmenting vowels in here. So then this is probably going to be another subjunctive again, or it's not aorist. But with tau, alpha, iota, that's it. Well, tau, alpha, iota goes across multiple tenses. And we've got the different stem here because this is from iaomai. Should probably pay attention to my notes. So then with the sigma, tells us that this must, in fact, be aorist, which means that we do, in fact, have another subjunctive without the the augmenting vowel on the iota. And it is deponent because of the mai in the present form, and subjunctive with hina. So that he might come and he might heal. Autu, omicron upsilon, genitive singular masculine. Ton huion, omicron nu, don't really need to parse these. A melen epsilon nu as our personal ending right there, and we do have the eta here, which is a contraction with our augmenting vowels we've seen with many of the others. This is still the present stem, though, which then tells us imperfect tense. Gar, just telling us that the reason for why he is asking all of this, even though we've seen it beforehand with eisthene. And this word can mean he was about to, or he was intending to. Intending doesn't make much sense, so about to is the better option. Apothnes kein, epsilon iota nu, off of our present stem, is just a present active infinitive. Okay, and there we have it. Sorry if this has been a bit fast. Frigius, calamitous, shut down moments before the video started, and I want to make sure to finish early, which is why I've been going on all these rabbit trails. Let's go ahead and take a look at this in its own context. That happens a lot. Therefore, he came again into Cana of the Galilee, where he made the water wine. And was certain noble whose son was sickly in Capernaum. And this man, having heard that Jesus is come from Judea into the Galilee, he went away to him and was asking so that he might come and heal his son, for he was about to die. And there we have it. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope taking a look at this has been helpful for you. And I hope that you have a very good Western Church week before Holy Week. Yeah. Farewell.